We begin tonight with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man who was mistakenly deported to a maximum security in El Salvador prison. His case made it all the way to the Oval Office, but it wasn't the American president who pronounced the verdict. It was the Salvadoran president, Nayib Bukele, who met with President Trump today and dismissed talk of Abrego Garcia's release as preposterous. CBS's Camilo Montoya-Galvez joins me now. Camilo, let's start with the order by the judge to the administration to facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. What is the administration's response to that?
Well, President Trump punted that question to Attorney General Pam Bondi and White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller. And they essentially downplayed the fact that the administration has admitted in federal court that it made a mistake in this case, saying that Mr. Abrego Garcia is a gang member, that he was here illegally, and that essentially the U.S. now, John, is powerless when it comes to the Salvadorian government releasing him from that notorious mega prison known as Secot. Let's take a listen.
So we had a deportation order that was valid, which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States and had to be returned because of the foreign terrorist designation.
How can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it.
John, I really do have to underscore that the Supreme Court unanimously said that this man was illegally deported because he had received a protection from deportation by a Justice Department immigration judge back in 2019 during the first Trump administration. If the administration wanted to deport him, they should have reopened that case and asked for that deportation protection to be terminated. They did not follow that process, hence why they made a mistake.
The judge also said they wanted an update on Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Any update?
We received the first details about his whereabouts over the weekend. A State Department official said that he is alive. He confirmed that Mr. Abrego Garcia is alive and that he's being detained at Secot, the mega prison. But beyond that, we have received no details about what steps the administration is taking to actually facilitate his entry into the country. We did receive a statement from Abrego Garcia's wife, Jennifer, who is a U.S. citizen, and she told us in part, no holiday planning feels possible right now as the Trump and Bukele administrations continue to play political games with this life, leaving my children longing for their father and our family separated from one another during the sacred time.
Camilo, great reporting, as always. Thank you so much.
Of course.
For more on the legal issues at play, CBS's legal contributor and Loyola Law School professor Jessica Levinson joins me now. Jessica, thanks again for being here. Okay, so Stephen Miller says the Supreme Court basically ruled for the administration, that basically said that the administration was not compelled to bring Abrego Garcia back. The Attorney General, Pam Bondi, said that facilitate just meant that the U.S. had to provide a plane if the president of El Salvador released him. Help us sort through all of those claims and counterclaims.
Yeah, so these are pretty nuanced responses to what I frankly think was widely read as the Supreme Court in a unanimous order saying, we agree with the district court that the federal government has to facilitate his return to the U.S. And then the judge asked for some the justices asked for some clarification from the judge on the word effectuate. I think a plain reading of what the Supreme Court said is that Mr. Abrego Garcia needs to be returned to the U.S. And I don't read this the way the Trump administration is reading it. I think that there is, however, a difference between saying we will ignore the Supreme Court and we read the Supreme Court order differently than other people do.
What is that difference? I mean, what I want to know is where we're going here and what that difference means. And at some point, do justices ever say, let's stop with the semantics? We both know what the plain reading of this is.
John, I want to know what's next as well. And I expect a lot of people do. And I'm not trying to be facetious here in the sense that we have a Supreme Court order. This case has gone back down to the district court. The district court has said, give me an update. I want to know what's happening in order for me to find out if you are, in fact, facilitating his return. The district court is also having a hearing tomorrow on the contempt order that was brought, saying that the federal government should be held in contempt for not complying with this order, which is always of saying we're really inching towards this showdown we keep talking about with respect to judicial orders and executive actions, and whether or not they dance around, slow walk, somewhat comply, or if they're just outright defiance of these orders.
10 seconds. This goes back to the Supreme Court.
I think it does go back to the Supreme Court. In answer to your previous question, the justices don't like this, is my guess, and we'll wait to see what their language looks like if it does, in fact, go back up.
Jessica Levinson, thank you, as always.